Good evening, I'm Mike Levin. The town of Needham is receiving some pushback from the business community around an effort to redesign Great Plain Avenue from Linden Street to Warren Street. Seeking to increase foot traffic and improve the safety of the roads, the proposal is being perceived by some business owners as a threat to their livelihoods. At issue is the amount of input they would have in the design. In response, the town says there is still time to make that happen. Marc Mandel explains.
Over the last few weeks, signs have been appearing in storefront windows, voicing opposition to the town's Envision Needham Center project, one of two major initiatives hoping to re-engineer the town's major commercial roadways. The businesses fear that the project's stated parameters would have a serious negative impact on their ability to serve the community.
This plan threatens the livelihood of local businesses and the accessibility of our town. Reducing travel lanes will not only cause congestion, but it will also divert frustrated drivers onto residential side streets, removing visibility of businesses and creating unsafe conditions for families and pedestrians. We ask for the stop to the pilot and a pause on this project. We ask for the representation from the small business community to be included in the planning process so that all stakeholders can collaborate on an architecture that takes into account all needs and interests.
While Envision Needham Center is positioned to be the culmination of decades of studies, surveys, and smaller projects, businesses claim that not enough was done to include their voices or pass along information on impending decisions. Claims the Select Board and the town challenge.
That contract was let in August, but that came after a process that the board had run earlier in the year that, again, had participation at the time, all right, where we brought in several candidates, listened to proposals from several candidates to understand sort of how they were thinking about this problem and what their vision was. And we selected the candidate who we found to be the most innovative and I think who had listened the most carefully, at least to the board and the constituents who participated.
Further, they stated that the plans have not yet been finalized and that they themselves have yet to fully discuss the project.
You know, I don't think anyone is wedded to any idea. The pictures that people have seen are really in the very first stage of development, and we're still looking for feedback. So I think it's the job of the Envision group to process that feedback and to hold public hearings and to make sure that the plan that evolves, which hasn't happened yet, is one that serves all of the needs.
The working group formed to collaborate with the DPW on this project still has work to do and is seeking members from the business community.
You established this working group originally in August of 2024, and at the time, the three Needham Center business perspectives were designated on this group to have a Needham Center small business owner, a Needham Center restaurant owner, and a Needham Center property owner. And since that time, we have had people express interest, but not necessarily in complete alignment with each of those three categories. And we want to make sure that we get the perspective of these key stakeholders, not just through your hearing process, but as voting members on this working group.
I assume the board, after public hearing, will have a lot of feedback, and we'll ask the committee to work with the consultant and the DPW after that in order to make further recommendations on what might happen moving forward. So that's what I see the role is.
However, the town does caution that on a practical level, some aspects of the project are inevitable due to constraints on the space and strings attached to the funding.
Yes, it is a road diet, and it does require one lane and possible a view of bike lanes too, as a component of it to be examined. But that was that's baked into the grant.
We can't use the grant if the bike lanes are not part of that plan, but that does not mean that they have to be the centerpiece of the entire design. So it's just an element.
A full public hearing on Envision Needham Center is scheduled for Tuesday, May 13th in Powers Hall at Needham Town Hall.